You have something that you wrote about Carlton Zigley. Last time he was here, both of you were on the program. Now he
Yeah.
has gone to the great beyond. But you wrote something for him that you want to present a plaque to Pan Trinbago. I would
Oh,
like you to read it to our listener and
oh yes. I'm so sorry. I really didn't have the chance. I know this was just uh, but these are the words I had planned to put on that thing. And when I say I'm going to do it. And I'm going to start at the top of the line. I believe I can still remember being on my way to the Globe or Empire Theatre back in the 40s. And on a clear and windy afternoon, coming from the head of Park Street and Basilos Street, you would be able to hear the beautiful song of a bass pan, played by a very remarkable fellow by the name of who I used to call in the early days Carlton Barrow, but known as Carlton Constantine. And of course, name was Ziggly. I had great respect and admiration for the gentleman because of his great sense of humor. Ziggly has revolutionized a pan which has changed its name many times through the years. Names like the bass pan, the belly, the tune boom, the tenor boom, the second boom, all these names were built on three little notes, the note D, E, and G, adding a fourth note later on. That note was A. The deep sound tone of that pan had become the background rhythm for all the big name steel bands. I'm talking about a man who made history in his own quiet way. This gentleman has become a pan ambassador in his own right. Ziggly popularity has traveled all the way from our beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago to other islands and beyond. This is Andrew Pan saying goodbye, my friend. Thank you.
yes, Andrew, we like to say, I love those words and I remember them. And we hope that you, our listener, remember them also. Okay, Andrew, now I'd like to go on in your travels. You went to London with the Tasco band and you came back to Trinidad. After you returned to Trinidad, what happened then? Because you went back out. What countries did you travel from? After you came back to Trinidad, you left Trinidad. What year was it that you left and went to what country you went to
Well,
promote
I
steel?
returned from England in 1951, December 12, 1951, and spent close to 7 years. In other words, from 51 to May of 58. And those years I had done very, very well into the pan business because I had what you call, not just me, but my whole band, had what you call all year round work with the tourist bureau, and most of the time, of course, with all the big ships that come in. And I also had the privilege of working for the tourist bureau by playing all the small miniature pans that were being placed in there for sales. And by May of 1958, I again leave Trinidad and head for Brazil with the Chicago Steel Band and also a dance group by the name of Les Enfants. We went to countries like Brazil, Chile, Peru. We even went to Ecuador, which got a little rough in Ecuador at the time because Ecuador is really, it's not very, you know, well, I would say people who really go out to spend money to look into a show. It got a little tough there then, and then we leave and went to Panama, and from Panama all through Central America into Mexico. I spent a year in Mexico, and it was a wonderful year. This is why I developed also a lot of the, what you call, of course, I used to do a lot of the Latin beats here in Trinidad before I leave, because this is, I think, what had made Chicago a very popular band. The mambo, the this and the other, the Castilian, whatever. But when I got to Mexico, I had it made there. It was no problem at all.
So,
In fact, I'd have to say, I was second to none anyway, to make any difference.
yeah, so folks, you hear it from the Pan himself, countries that he traveled to promote steel band, and that was pioneer territory that virgin territory that he entered to play steel band and promote Trinidad and Tobago instrument, the steel band. So right now, we would like to support some word from our kind sponsors, TSTT. Shoot from there. from that era or that year to present. They are Meritones, Invaders, Desperados, Hatters, Renegades, and Starlift. These are the 6 bands that never missed a year from its inception, 1963, to date. So there you have it, folks. A bit of history again. And I'd like to pay a special tribute to all the beautiful women in TNT. They say carnival is for women, eh? So I'd like to wish you all that you enjoy the carnival just gone by, and that the Starlift Steel Orchestra won the Band of the Day on Monday, and I hope that this is a big thing that since 1963 the last steel band won that was Silver Stars, and the Starlift Steel Orchestra did that this year, and that's a great mark that was made in this world of the steel band. And not many people do that. Andrew, I'd like to hear a little bit with you on that.
Well, I tell you, I think that makes you pretty proud anyway.
You know,
I was kind of cut right into that little mark there a long time ago. I say, now is my chance, I think.
Because what is happening today is that not many people play mass with steel bands. And I like to thank all the people, the people who played mass in steel bands in Exodus, in Desperados, in All Stars. No matter how small or how many they were, they still contributed to the steel band movement and playing mass on both Monday and Tuesday. We like to say on the PAN chart a special thank you from us all at PAN TRINBAGO.
And I want to say for the past few years, this has been the best year I've seen with people really getting on the street with steel band. It's a long time since I've seen that type of thing, especially standing there on Edward Street in front of PAN TRINBAGO, and I was just sort of directing things at one time. And I thought it was beautiful. Very, very nice. Very nice.
So once again, folks, I hope you pay tribute to our Champion concert tonight, starting at 8 o'clock. And this is in honor of our great steel band pioneers, one of them, the late Carlton Zigley Constantine. Andrew, and I'd like to get our listeners this recording I got from Andrew came through an earlier broadcast on the PAN chart here. Could you give the listener the details of this and the history of this record?
Oh, we're talking about that. That was made in 1961 in California. I was working in Palm Spring at a place called the Admirada Hotel. Of course, doing a fine job there. And the next thing I know, by the time I finished there, a man by the name of Gene Norman, which of course done a lot of recording for different groups and everything else. You'll see a lot of these records anyway today that says Gene Norman present. And he wanted us to do the recording at the time, so we did it at one of his nightclub on Sunset Boulevard, a place called the Crescendo. And it was sort of a touch and go that morning, but I believe from some of the little experience that I got from working on Radio Trinidad in those earlier days, I was able to tell them how to set that thing up the way we wanted, because everything was set overhead in a kitchen.
In a kitchen?
In a kitchen. That same day, Nancy Wilson was taking an audition in the front so she can open for that night at the same big club. So we used the kitchen part of it, and I told the guy just about how to set the whole entire thing up. And it was quite a lot of songs there, but it was so many, and in his own mind everything was good, so they just picked what they wanted, especially to have a couple of these what you call Belafonte type songs on it, like Jamaica Farewell, and there's another one that I like very much called Land of Sea and Sun, I think it is the name of it.
Okay, but how we got back the record, I want our listeners to remember.
You mean that record there?
How I got the record there?
You know, it's a funny thing about that. I remember, I guess about a couple of years earlier,
92.
when we were doing a show with, what's his name?
Oh, Richard.
Richard. Mm-hmm. And I went up to the stage and somebody said, I heard you're doing a show, and the question came up, if I had a record, something they would like to be able to play something, and the person make it their personal business to find that record. And said this is going to be for Keith Diaz.
Well, folks, there you heard it. And I'm going to play this record for you. It's called Iceman. It's done by Chicago Steel Band way back from 1961. Iceman.
That was done at the Crescendo nightclub on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, and that was just 7 men playing back there.
Useful really back, okay?
Oh yeah, doing a little thing around.
I love it. Okay, you have it there for you heard it. I love this program. I just have a good time, and Andrew keeps you so happy and give all this history in the steel band world. You know, I love to hear history, and I want the younger children in Trinidad to be able to hear the history and the instrument of the land, the national instrument.